In this video, we're going to focus on how we can give here multiple labels. We stack them below or on top of each other, and then also give them a different font color, font size, and the length of it as well. So let's start to explore how to add multiple text labels stacked in a donut chart in Chartjs. So the first thing what we need is, of course, to get a default code, which is in chartjs3.com getting started. You can find the link also in the description box. Scroll down here and then go and grab this entire code, copy this, and if you want to understand what this code does, make sure you watch this video, which explains it all. We're going to paste this all in there, cut out the title here, and then put it in there. Save that. Refresh, there we are. So now what I want to do is I want to convert this into a pie chart or a donut chart to be specific. And I'll scroll down here and just give the width of the chart 400 pixels. Scroll down here and say this will be a donut chart. And of course remove the scales because a donut chart has no scales. Save that, refresh, there we are. So now we have this. Just to make it a little bit more fancy, I'm going to say here cut out. And I'll just say here 90%. This is the string value. And then maybe a border radius of 20. Save that, refresh. There we are. So that looks absolutely phenomenal. So what I want to do eventually is I want to put in here the value in here in the center, whatever the value would be. In this case, I'm going to focus only on one. And this one will eventually be big. So what I want to do here, well, basically you could just already do this. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to say here, this will be transparent. And then same here, also say transparent, and we only have two values. There we are, and we have these two here. Although the labels, or specifically the legend, will be later on removed. If I save this now, refresh, we have now two options. You can see here. Beautiful. Alright, so this here later on can be sold. Sorry. So what I want to do now is basically create a plugin. So what I'm going to do here, just here below the options, I'm going to say plugins, and then in the plugins, a bracket, and I'm going to give this a name. Let's say label or stacked text. Maybe here is small s. Alright, copy this. Then we're going to say here constant stack text equals, and here curly braces, and then we can say ID, although this we won't be using this, so it doesn't matter. And then we say here the drawing time, and the drawing time will be specifically after data sets draw. At that moment we want to draw basically the text here, and all we need here is the chart. We have here two other items, but we won't be using them as well, so chart and options. But the essential one is this one here is an object. Well, they all are, but this object here, what we need to do is what we call object destructure. So what we need to do is in this object we want to split out and get these specific items in there so we can use them as a shorthand. So the most important one will be if I do this constant curly braces equals chart, and the most important one will be a CTX. Why CTX? CTX will help us draw in the canvas. Basically it has a reference on my chart or this specific canvas with this ID to draw something in that specific canvas. So next what we want to have is the chart area, and the chart area is absolutely important to understand. If you want to understand the chart area, later on I'll show you a video, but basically this video here I'll show you the link at the very end of the video, but this is a video that you should absolutely watch. So I say here chart area, and then we're going to say top, bottom, left, right, and then we have here top, bottom, left, right, and then we say the width and height. Alright. So once we have this, with this we can start to calculate and position everything in our chart. Because when I talk about the chart area, I'm not talking about the canvas to be specific. So what I'm really talking about is, because see this is the canvas, is 400 by 400. But the chart area is the drawing area of that specific item. Which in this case is not, because here is the canvas. We have to go maybe 30-40 pixels down here. And from there on, it will start to go all to the bottom. So what we're going to do here is the following. I'm going to say here. Alright, so let's start to think what we're going to draw. First of all, let's get some text that we want to display. And afterwards, I want to put some text below that one again. with different text. So what I'm going to say here, first of all, I'm going to say here ctx.save to save everything what we have here above. And then later on I will explain how important chart area becomes for the position. But let's draw a text and put it somewhere in the corner as starting point. It doesn't matter. So I say ctx and I say ctx.font, and the font will define, first of all, if it will be bold or basic. So I'll say you bolder. If you don't want that, you can just leave that. You can just say 12 pixels Arial, for example. What I want to do here, this will be the font size with the value. And the value will be 18, so I want to make it as big as possible. And then below, I can give some extra information that will be in small font. So this will be, let's say, 40 pixels. And I'll say this will be bolder. Next, once I have that, I want to grab the color. So I say here, ctx.fill style, which would indicate the color of the font. And fill basically refers to the background color of the font. So basically the entire font will be one specific color. In this case, it will be just this border color here, whatever we have. We put it in there, semicolon. Once we did that, final item is eventually the ctx.fill text, which would say, what is the text? So basically, in essence, the text, and then here the x and the y coordinates where we want to start. So I'm going to say here, let's put it on 10 by 10. And then what I'm going to say, the text will be test. Save that, semicolon here, save, refresh. Alright, so you can see the position, but of course, because the text is so huge, it is being clipped off at the very top and here probably at the side as well. So what I want to do is I want to put it here. I want to figure out how can we go into this specific center. So remember we had the chart area where we have the top, bottom, and then the width and the height. Basically with this information we can start to work. What I want to do here, for example here, let's say the width, but the width is full width. Remember, I want to have the center, and the width here in this case will be specifically, you can see here this width is 400 by 400. Well, the height is not 400 by 400, or here is not 400 because the height has a deduction of what we call here the legend. So that needs to be deducted from the calculation. I'll show you later on, so don't worry about that. So we say here width divided by 2. Save this. Alright, so now we have this, but you might say, hold on, why is it like this? And to help you out, let me draw some imaginary lines, or at least imaginary. Let me draw some lines here, so you can easily follow along. So I'm going to say here ctx, and then I'm just going to make it very simple. I'll say here, what is that? Fill, I guess fill style is fine. Fill style, and just make this black. Alright. And the next one will be ctx, and you say fill rectangle. And this rectangle, I will go very quick to this. I want to spend time. If you do want to understand what I'm doing here, I have a whole canvas series on YouTube. I highly recommend you to watch it if you really want to understand customizing more things in Chartjs, because these kind of things are the foundation what Chartjs is built on. It's basically built on Canvas API. But here, just very simple. I'm going to say here left and right, I guess. The first one is starting point. So let's say here 0, and then this will be the. If that will be 0, we have to look here. This will be height. I can just say here height divided by 2 for now, and then rect style, that should be it. So let me save this, refresh. Alright, so sorry, I guess there's another item here. Sorry, I'm basically slightly confused. So what we need to do here, let me explain it so you understand, because that's why I was struggling. Alright, so we have the x position, which is start, the x start, the y start. And that's probably also good for me, so I can also see exactly what I'm doing. And then we have here the xn and the, or basically not even the xn, this is the width and the height of that line. So if we start at a certain position, let's say here, and we do want to do, let's say 50 pixels, going here 50 pixels to the right, you just say 50 pixels from this point and it will draw. So that's what we're here doing. That's what we need to do here as well. So that's why I'm struggling, but the first two is alright now. So then of course our width will not move at all. Maybe 1 pixel to make it a thickness of 1. And then here the height will be, let's see here, will be to the bottom. If I save this, I should expect now something nicely. There we are, but of course I get a completely wrong item. So we have here the height. I guess the height should be here top. Save that. Alright, we get this. And then of course, what do I need to do here? This is top and bottom, sorry about that. So what I need to do here, I need to push this into the center here. So what I'm going to do here, and I guess the other one will be what we're supposed to have. I'll say here width divided by 2. Then we should have that. There we are. So this is the center. And let me make the other one immediately as well. So I hope you're not too confused, but basically it's just the same here. So I'm going to say your width, and then here this will be just left, and this one will be the right, and here the top will be this should be probably top, or let's see, I need to divide this as well, so I need to say height divided by 2. And then here, we'll just say 1. So we don't want to move this at all. So if I do this, there we are. However, if you really look carefully, it is not really in the center. And the reason why it's not in the center is this. The height here is our issue. What we need to do here is also plus the top. Because we have here the legend. Later on, once we remove the legend, it will be correct. But if we just do it like this, plus top, save that, we are now officially in the center here. Alright, this is what I need to have. This is what I was trying to get as well, but slightly confused myself. Anyway, now we have these imaginary lines. So basically these lines help our lines. So now we can start to put it in the center. And so what I want to do is I want to get the text in the center here. So you have this width, alright, and then here same, we can say a height divided by 2, and if I save this, you can see here, it goes in here, it is in the center on one part, but the upper part we should do still plus top. If we do plus top, we should be now in the center. Alright, so we're on 1 on the center, but we have to be in the center. You might say, why is this here? But this is because we are having a default of align text left. And you can see it is the center and exactly the left side, or align text left, meaning that everything else here will be ignored. And then we only go to the right. So we don't want this. But what I want to do here is ctx.align text equals center. This is a string value. Semicolon save. Refresh. Alright, align text, or sorry, text align. That's the one. Make sure you do it correctly. Text and then align with capital A. There we are. So now we are officially in the center. And what I want to do is while we have this in the center, everything below the center should show in a very small font. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, we have this text. Let's grab here specifically the value of whatever we have here. So what I'm going to do here is, how do we get that? Well, let me show you. We could basically do it in here, because we have this shorthand. But basically it's this, console log. We go to chart, save, refresh. Open up developer tab. You get here a lot of this, but don't worry about it. This is basically this is chart. And in the chart, we can scroll down here, and you eventually find here something related to data. That's this one here, the data object, sorry. And then here, you can see the labels, and you can get here the data. And because we only have one data set, and we want the very first item of that data set, so it's data set 0. If I click on this, then we go to grab here data 0. So if I hover over this, what happens is we get data.datasets 0.data. So what we could do, instead of here saying chart.data.datasets index 0.data 0, we could make this maybe a bit more easier here by just saying this, and then we can say data, comma, like that, and then we could even, well, basically because we have this here, we're not able to do that, but we can say here then there's only data. If we do this and refresh, we get still number 18, which is the very first item, because we have this shorthand here. Alright, so now we have this. I want to just copy this. I'm going to say here the text, we do this, and then I'll just say plus concatenation, I don't know, percent sales, I don't know, something. You could say anything, or maybe we should do it even at the front. Then we can say here single quotation plus as a concatenation number, like that. I'm just doing something here. Alright, number 18. So now we have this. What I want to do now is just below here, I want to put in another item that will give maybe more description. And what we're going to do now is basically the following. We're going to look here, and what we're going to say here is these lines here in essence could be basically removed, but I'll just keep them in for now. So what I'm going to do here, first of all, ctx.restore to undo whatever we did above. Then I'm going to put another one here. So I'm going to say here, the font is maybe now smaller. This will be solid black. Text maybe I'll center as well. And here we could change the item as well. So let's see what could be here. Maybe here, total sales. And then we put in there, let's save that and just see how it looks like. As you can see here now, it starts to go in the center as well. We can now start to position that nicely by just reducing it. So how do we reduce this based on whatever we have here? Well, remember, the font height indicates basically how many pixels in height it is. In this case, it's 40. So what I'm going to do here in the top, I'll just say here, plus, and then we can say here a value to 40, save that, refresh, there we are. So what we could do to make it more better is just to say the following. I'm going to say a constant. This font will be font height equals 40 pixels. Alright, then we have this one here. Then I'm going to say here, we can do plus that, and this must be single quotation. But I'm going to show you another way. We can do it like this, but I think a better way to do it is template literals. So I'm going to say here, we have this, we're going to do backticks, and backticks is on your keyboard below the escape button. So you have backticks, and then we're going to just add up this, and we'll say here, $sign for the variables, with parentheses, just put it in there, and remove all of this, and there we are. So this makes everything easier. So we have that one. So if I save that now, refresh, exactly the same. This font height now could be here used in there. To save that, you can see here now we have this, because what happened if we maybe change our mind, we want to make it bigger, 50, refresh, you can see this works nicely. So what I do want to do here, because we have this one fixed on 20, we could change this as well. Maybe we could say here, the font height constant, let's say half font height equals font height divided by 2. Alright, copy this. And basically, well, before I even copy that, I'll just grab all of that, put it in there, get the half font height, I should have like this, half, save, and there we are. This one works, and as we increase this, everything else increases along as well. So this is basically it, and you might notice here, these black lines, we can remove them, and let's put this on maybe 80. Alright, so different text here. We could even put another one below if desirable. But what I want to do here, remove all these imaginary lines that we have. Save that, and then of course here, before we even do anything else, ctx.restore, save. Alright, everything works. Let's remove here the item. So I'm going to say here, where is that legend item? So I'm going to say here, plugins. And then we're going to say here, legends. And we say here, display false. And then besides the legend, you see as well the tooltip. This one is fine, but what happens if we are here? Choose state. This is the transparent one, so we cannot allow to show that. So we're going to say here, tooltip. We're going to enable them set on false. Save that. Alright, so now we went a bit more higher, and that is basically it. And this looks absolutely phenomenal. Of course, we could put it up as well. Then we have to go in the negative values. Basically here, when we do this, to the top, minus. If I save that. And then, oh, of course, sorry, here, doesn't matter, now it's a top minus, because there is no more a legend, so there's no more top. But let's say here, if I do minus 100 pixels, save that. You can see this pushes it up as well. So with this, you could put in multiple up, multiple down, and you could go on basically to do almost anything here. If you would like to have a whole story, it could be as well. Oh, sorry, save that, refresh, and there we are. So this multiple text. We could do even another one below there if desirable. That's just for the sake of it. Put in here, and then this one I want to make this just a simple one, 10 pixels. Text. Then here, font height, this basically would be plus the half font height. Alright, so we have this one here. And then we say here, that's fine. This is a long text description. Maybe this one should be maybe in black 666, which is the official gray color of Chartjs. There you are. And so with this, you can make a whole description here. You could push this up as well, and you can do all kinds of things. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to recommend you to watch this video about understanding Chartjs area, because we can do so much more. Not only positioning, you can do colors, lines, shapes, and almost anything in there. But of course, this is the core or the foundation to know. Once you know this, thereon you can do a lot more.